If we stop thinking of sound as just radiating vibration, but we think of sound as vibrations that are a result of energy that's radiating, then we can start thinking of sound not as something that only speakers can access, but as something that our bodies are privy to, which means that there's other ways to be able to receive that information as well.
Dr. Castro, today we're going to be going through your dissertation. And your dissertation was on embodied sound and multimodal composition. You are now a doctor of philosophy in music.
Indeed.
But I'm curious, going into the very first section of your dissertation, you stated that sound is radiation, or sound as radiation. What does that mean?
Indeed, young man, let me tell you a tale that many have tried to spin before us here. As you see, we have previously henceforth thought of sound as this thing that radiates across a room. And as we consider this as an option, sound as the radiation washes over you, just like radiation from a bomb can wash over your body and infect you in many ways. And in many, okay, for all seriousness, it's kind of the same thing, right? Where sound is so pervasive everywhere, it literally permeates every little detail and nuance of our life. You can't walk into a shopping center and there's music playing, there's people talking, there's things happening all over the place. Sound is literally radiating on and off of everything. You're listening to this right now on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet, that's radiating off at you. Someone else is trying to call your name in the background. There's other stuff bouncing all over the place. Sound is literally radiating everywhere. So that's why we call it like a radiation.
So why should we care?
Because if we think of sound that way, we can think of other things that radiate this way, right? Think back, young man, upon the time of which you first encountered the idea of sound, right? Maybe it was AirPods or like little earphones. Or
oh, that's the first time I listened to AirPods?
Yeah, the first time you've ever experienced sound, right?
Oh, for sure,
But even before that, right, then maybe also your mother's womb. And maybe there was other types of ways that you're interacting with sound, quote unquote. But if we think of sound just as sound, then we're losing out on the other properties of sound. Like we're losing out on this vibratory aspect of sound, which is something that we're definitely in a part of. If we stop thinking of sound as just radiating vibration, but we think of sound as vibrations that are a result of energy that's radiating, then we can start thinking of sound not as something that only speakers can access, but as something that our bodies are privy to, which means that there's other ways to be able to receive that information as well.
So what you're saying, just so I understand all of that, right? Sound is the most constant stimulus we have, right? We can't get away from sound. Like out of all the other mechanisms, right? We can close our eyes and we don't see anything. But you're still gonna hear stuff. You're always gonna be permeated to sound radiation.
Right.
Speakers are one way to create that, right? But if we redefine the question of what actually is sound and what actually is radiating, you're telling me that there's other mechanisms to make that than just speakers that we all know today.
Correct. I mean, the first time you heard your mother's voice was not through your ears, it was through your body. So if you look at everything from that sense, we just have become so acquainted with our ears, but our body is equally as important.
So what other mechanisms can we understand sound?
The same way that we understand vibrations, right? If you look at just the electromagnetic frequency spectrum, everything from how the Earth tectonic plates move all the way up to radio frequency signals. They're all just different magnitudes that we use different instruments to be able to send and receive those signals. Sound is no different. Sound is no different. The light is no different. Even the sense of smell, technically, there's something called the vibration theory of olfaction, which is kind of cool. But essentially, vibration is the determination that we have that there is energy there. There's something there, some stimulus, some signal is there. And if you can become sensitive to that vibration, then you're sensitive to whatever's delivered energy into that, which means that if someone's put a signal into something, then you can be sensitive to be able to receive that signal out of it. And again, it's a very high level, kind of like really far out, very philosophical way of approaching it, but it's a foundational aspect to help us redefine how we perceive the world. Or it's something that helps you start to ask the question of, are we really perceiving the world we think we are today?
That all started with sound as radiation. But if we agree upon that point, the rest of your dissertation, we can start
Oh, it gets harder from here. Yeah, no, it just gets worse. It goes downhill. But yeah, that's a good start.
All right, philosophy step number 1, sound as radiation. I hope everybody can understand that sound is a lot more than what we hear. And I'm excited to dive into other topics after this.
Indeed.